Good morning, everyone. And thank you, John, for that kind introduction. I'm crying already. I was born in Alabama, and my grandmother, she taught me some good Southern values. She taught me to be courteous at all times to everyone, and to always say please and thank you. She taught me to pay things forward because you never know how someone may affect your life somewhere down the road. We don't know where our journeys will lead us, and none of us walk the same path. My mom had 8 siblings. She had me at the age of 20 years old, and my father, he was never around. At the age of 22, my mom needed a fresh start, so she moved to New York to be with her brother and her sister. When I was 5, I came to live with her, and a few years later, my little brother, Christopher, was born. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment on Garden Street in the Bronx. We didn't have a lot, but we didn't need a lot. My mom worked so hard cleaning hotel rooms, and somehow we got by. You know that expression, it takes a village? That's my childhood growing up. My aunts, uncles, cousins, and neighbors all helped me stay focused, and so did my coaches. I was the star of my basketball team in high school. So graduating high school, I had a scholarship offer to go back home to attend UAB, the University of Alabama in Birmingham. I was going back home to be with my grandmother, to get my education and to continue playing basketball. But I fell in love and found a different path. I met Michael when I was 18 years old. He was a few years older than me, and he taught me so much. And even though I was living in poverty, he would take me around and just show me the world. We eventually got married and built a life together. Then one day, Michael had a mild heart attack. Oh, excuse me. And we rushed him to the hospital. It was scary, but I thought we would be okay. A few years later, we were on vacation in Mexico. And when we returned back to New York, Michael had his second heart attack. And this time it was the worst. 3 months passed, and Michael passed away. I was a 28-year-old widow, and I didn't know what to do. I had left a good job working at Morgan Stanley in the mailroom to take care of him. I found myself alone and feeling so depressed. So I moved back home to my mom in that 1-bedroom apartment on Garden Street and started to put my life back together. I asked God for guidance, and I thought back to the beginning. Back in 1985, when I graduated from high school, and Mr. Jeffrey Canada came to speak to my graduation class. By the way, I understand he's on the board at the Robin Hood. Yay! And I found out he won this award, the Heroes Award. Mr. Canada is my hero. And I can still remember his words like they was yesterday. He told us, "It is our destiny to lead the youth that comes behind us." Wow. So I found a new path, helping people through nonprofit. I started working with kids at Mashula Montefiore Community Center in the Bronx, and I never looked back. So over the 20 years I've worked at Mashula Montefiore Community Center, Bronx AIDS Services, and the McKinley Community Center. I love helping people, and I love working with children, being that I don't have any of my own. So along the way, I met a man named John. fell in love again, and moved forward on my new path. But while I was working so hard, I didn't notice that John was cheating on me with a woman that lived in our building. I didn't even notice that when he asked me to co-sign his car loan, he put it all in my name. I looked at him and said, really? I don't even know how to drive. So on my 45th birthday, I woke up and I realized I was done. So guess what I did? I wrote John a Dear John letter and told him, we are through. But when the relationship ended, I was buried in debt and had terrible credit. I didn't know how to dig myself out, but I know I needed help, and I tried. So I walked a mile to work just to save those $2 in bus fare. I even washed some of my clothes in my bathroom sink, and then I took a job with my mom, cleaning hotel room. Every penny that I earned went to that debt. But I couldn't dig myself out, and I know I needed help. So everyone I spoke to told me that bankruptcy attorney would be too expensive. Now, I spoke to this one rude lawyer, and he told me the process would cost $350 an hour and take up to 6 months. There was no way I could afford it. Then I went to the Bronx County Courthouse to see what I could do. A clerk there gave me a flyer for Upsolve. I didn't know how it worked, but as soon as I saw those words, nonprofit, I knew I was gonna be all right. So I went online that night and filled out their simple form. And a very professional and nice man, and he knows who he is, called me and told me to come to his office. 2 days later, I went to the office at Blue Ridge Labs in Brooklyn to meet with him. The entire process took 2 months. 2 months, and I had a fresh start. Having those debts resolved cleared the path for me to focus on what I love to do the most, which is helping people. I was able to focus on living again. And since then, one of the programs I help lead is the McKinley Clovers Girls Step Team. Yes, in the Bronx. And they have went on to perform at the Apollo Theater 3 times. Yes. South by Southwest. And even the Cannes Film Festival in France. Oh God. I could not have done any of this if I hadn't been buried in that debt. And just a week ago, I started a new job with Bronx Work, which is a longtime friend of Robin Hood and their community partners. I don't know where I would be right now without Upsolve. Thank you, Robin Hood, and thank you to Upsolve for changing my path and creating a technology for people like myself to have hope. Thank you, everyone, and happy holidays.